This is your session on search and research skills. You'll have all of these resources from the session in Gaggle to refer to whenever you need them, but for now I'm only going to focus on a few. Everyone knows that most students go straight to Google to conduct a basic search. While this is not a problem, you want to make your searches more efficient and more focused. So here are some practices that you should use while conducting your searches. Your teachers will expect you to use these search tips for classwork, so pay attention. There are a few Google search operators that I want to share with you. For a complete list, you'll refer back to the resources that I've provided you in Gaggle. We can search the web for so much information, but your search can be narrowed considerably by using some smart search skills. As you probably already know, when you search Google Chrome, you can either enter information into the search bar here, or you can go to google.com. Either way, the search works the same. The first tip is to use the search tools that Google has provided. Here's an example. Let's say that we want to search for a chocolate chip cookie recipe. So we type in chocolate chip cookie recipe. I've typed that in, and no matter what you search for in Google, you have this search tool feature. When you select that, you get a drop-down menu of ways that you can filter the search. Since this is a recipe, this is going to give me a filter to search for ingredients, for cook time, calories, when it's been posted on the web or when it's been made available. You can search all results, or you can search according to a reading level or verbatim. I can even search recipes in Missouri because it knows where my location is, or I can search any result. So when you search, just a general idea on Google is to use this search tool feature to help filter and narrow your search. Well, let's move on to another simple example. World War II is part of our American history, and hopefully you know a little bit about your past. So try typing in World War II in the search bar here, or again, you can go to google.com, either way. So I'm going to type in World War II and hit my enter button. When I do that, I come up with over 99 million hits on World War II. This is not effective or narrowed at all when I'm searching for something on a topic this broad. But you can use a Google search operator called cite: to narrow your search. So let's say that I want information on World War II as seen from the perspective of the U.S. or as history dictates that has to do with U.S. So I'm going to leave World War II alone in my search bar, but to that I'm going to add the cite: feature. Now, when you do that, these features, when these search operators, you don't put a space in between. So I have World War II space, and then cite: no space, and then I'm going to type in US. That happens to be the country code for the United States. In your list of resources, I've given you a list of internet codes for countries as well as some other codes that might be useful to you. For now, we're going to search the US. When I conduct this search, I get a considerably less number of searches. So you can see here that my searches have been narrowed quite a bit. So I've just used a simple cite: search operator to narrow my search. But for example, let's say I want to search from the perspective of another country. Same topic, World War II, same search operator, cite: and this time I want to search from the perspective of Poland. Poland's internet code happens to be PL. When I type that in and hit enter, now all of my URLs are coming up with only sites that have .pl at the end. So you can see that using this search operator is very effective. Another thing that you can do with this cite: search operator is to search specific sites. So for instance, if I want educational sites, I type edu. That will narrow down and weed out anything that is .com, .org, or any of those other URLs. I'm now searching World War II information edu. I can also take it a step further. I can type a space and a plus symbol and a space, and now type things that only pertain to the U.S. So they're educational and they're related to the U.S. So the cite: search operator is one that you can use. You can pause the video for a few minutes so that you can try some other of the examples in search: on your own. Otherwise, we'll move on to the next one. So let's try another one. Let's say that you want to search Pinterest for ideas on what to wear to the back to school dance. You're coming, right? Use the search operator all in URL and the plus symbol to search Pinterest for something that might help you out. So, for example, I'm going to type in all in URL with a colon, and then I'm going to type in Pinterest.com, and then I'm going to do a space, plus symbol, and let's say I'm looking for things only related to fashion in Pinterest. When I do that, it brings up only Pinterest websites, so only URLs that have to do with Pinterest, and on the topic of fashion. Now, as you've probably guessed, you could narrow this down even further and type something else in other than fashion or along with fashion that would help you narrow your search. Again, pause the video and do a search of your own with this all-in URL search operator and Pinterest to see if you can find other things on your own. Here's one that you'll likely use a lot. It's called the file type search operator. Let's say you're only looking for PDFs because you want to be able to put them into OneNote. So you want to eliminate all other file types such as a .doc. You want to search for math formulas. So first, let's search for math formulas. And it would probably help if you spell it right. I get over 18 million searches for math formulas. If I leave the word math formulas in there, however, and then I do a space and I do file type, no spaces, PDF, now I'm looking for only math formulas that have to do with a PDF. So as you can see, all of your searches here are only PDFs. Let's put one more thing in there just to narrow the search down just a bit more. Leave math formulas in there, but to that add for students. Leave file type and PDF the same, and your search narrows even more. So I'll give you a few minutes to use this search operator and try some other things that you might be able to use in the classroom for this search operator. I'll show you two more, and then you can do some exploring on your own. This one's called InTitle, and I'm going to show you two examples of how you might use InTitle in the classroom. Try typing in baseball, and then a space, in title, no spaces, no space after that, and then Cardinals. What this does is it gives you a search for the topic of baseball, but within that you need the URLs to produce something that has Cardinals in it, so it ties baseball and Cardinals together in your search. And that's the search that you get, all kinds of different URLs. But let's say that I want to narrow it even more. I can put Springfield in front of the Cardinals, leave baseball alone, and that gives me information related to baseball, and in the topic of the URL is only Springfield Cardinals. Try that one for a little while, but before you do, let's look at one more example of using InTitle and how you might use it in school. So let's say that your English teacher has asked you to research the play Romeo and Juliet by Shakespeare. If I just put in Shakespeare, I get a considerable number of site options for Shakespeare, but it gives me way too many for what I'm looking for. So again, using the InTitle search operator, I can narrow it down quite a bit. I leave Shakespeare in there. I use InTitle : and then I search for Romeo and Juliet. Now, I still get a considerable number of hits, but I only get those that are related to Romeo and Juliet and Shakespeare's work. So those are the ones I wanted to show you. I think that the broad list of search operators and a search guide are going to be very useful to you. When you first look at these, they're very busy and it can be overwhelming. But you can see all of the different ways that you can search and narrow your search to make it more efficient and more focused. So for the rest of this session, you're going to get time to explore some of these other search operators, the ones I've shared with you here, and then the ones that are provided to you in the resources that are in Gaggle. So take the rest of your time and don't forget to bookmark the ones that are going to be good for you to know later. And happy searching.